I would like to welcome all of you to our virtual Q1 of 2021 result announcement. Allow me to introduce the executive who's joining us today, Mr. Tirapong Jansiri, our President and CEO of Thai Union Group, Mr. Ludovic Garnier, our Group CFO,
สวัสดีครับ
and our new head of IR, Ms. Gevali Tong Som-ang. Our presentation is, as usual, divided into 3 sessions: our key business highlight, our financial performance, and our business outlook. For the questions and answer, you will see the chat box to the right side of your computer, and you can type down any questions that you may have throughout the entire presentation. At the end, our team will read the question for our executive to go through each question during the Q&A session. Without further ado, please allow me to invite Mr. Tirapong to begin the presentation.
Good morning to the analysts, those of the financial institutions who are with us today. Shame to meet with you face to face. The organization first quarter. After last year's good year for us, 2021 is seeing good results. In the first quarter, you'll see that our net profit grew by 77% compared to year on year. And our good profit results are thanks to our key business. Whether it's the ambient or the frozen or the pet care. In addition to this, if we take a look at our profit results, even though it's only gone up 0.1% year-on-year change, our executives are quite satisfied with the operating results in the first quarter, especially when we take a look at last year, when we experienced COVID for the first time. For the ambient and pet care, there was a lot of panic buying that resulted, and therefore, with the sales returning to normal, we're quite happy with the results, and the momentum is getting better in the future for us. And our ambient seafood, even though it dropped in the first quarter a bit, the frozen results saw a 10% increase year on year, and for many countries, they are returning to normalcy more and more, which is helping our frozen sales continue to improve. And the pet care, we're looking at a 21% increase year on year as well. And this is mostly thanks to our new products, our core products, and our top line is as we hoped for, and we're very satisfied. The margin is at a level that is higher than 17%. In the first quarter, it's at 17.7%. And this is 1.5% increase compared to last year. We're looking at all of our businesses, whether it's the ambient, seafood, or frozen, or pet care, and the value-added products as well. Our operating profit has improved. We've seen a 22% increase compared to the last year, and our SG&A might have increased a bit at 11.7% compared to 11.3%. And the main reason for this is, as you know, we had a container shortage, which increased our freight costs significantly. And these expenses in the first quarter increased by 200 to 250 million baht compared to the last year. However, thanks to our team's capability, strong capability, and our company's strengths, we have been able to deal with these freight container expenses quite well, despite the difficulties that we faced. And the container situation, we will continue to face this. We're still looking at high costs, but we believe that we will be able to manage these expenses, and our net profit has increased by 77.4% compared to last year. And the main reasons are for our operating profit. Every section, every segment has yielded good results. We have our forex gain as well, where we saw a loss before of 262 million. Now we have gains of 244 million. We have lower finance costs. They're at 397 million. And this is thanks to our decreasing debt and our lowering cost of funds. And these are the brief coverage of the results for last year. On the next page, you'll see that in all of our metrics, our EBITDA is very strong. It's gone up by 30%. Our operating profit has increased. Our gross margin and sales are doing well. And most importantly, even though our free cash flow in the first quarter was negative, mainly due to the timing of our inventory that has gone up in the first quarter. But we are not worried. We are confident that our free cash flow will return to a positive status. And that is our goal for the next 3 quarters. And our net debt to equity has decreased continuously. It's 0.94 last year. And in the first quarter for this year, at the end of the first quarter, we recorded a net to debt equity of 0.93, which we are very, very satisfied with. Moving on. We're taking a look at the developments over the past 12 quarters. We have seen growth in our top line continuously since last year up to this year, and we believe that this year we're going to be able to exceed our goals. We're looking at a growth of 3 to 5%. Our gross margin, we also believe that we're going to achieve higher than 17% for the entire year this year, whether it's operating profit or net profit. Our key developments that I'd like to share with everyone today, in terms of COVID-19, first of all, whether it's the second wave or the third wave in Thailand and abroad, our team has been able to manage the situation well. And in Samut Sakhon, we're not worried with our plants. There has been no plant closure. We have been affected negatively for a few weeks, but we were able to pick up our capacity. And today, our factories in Thailand are nearing normal capacity, so there are no problems at the moment. And as for abroad, operations are normal in terms of vaccinations. At this moment in the United States, vaccines have been, there's about a million doses being provided each month. 30% of the population there has received both doses needed. And so we believe that the US will achieve their vaccination goal. In Seychelles, there's also 80% of the population being vaccinated. And that is a good number. In the UK, vaccinations are also advancing quite well. And in the UK, the market is opening again. People are starting to return to more normal operations. In terms of logistics, this is the key challenge for us, at least for the next 2 quarters, and we are keeping a close eye on this. Aside from this, our organization is also supporting the local communities all over the world. We're helping in terms of providing food supplies for the various agencies, for the local communities, for the general public, wherever we have operations. Moving on, you'll see that we have various projects in the pipeline, and I'd like to share with you at the moment. Our results have increased since 2020, especially after COVID, and many people are wondering why our results, whether our results are good results are the result of COVID-19 only. COVID has helped on the demand side, but in terms of profitability, in terms of our improvement, it's not only due to COVID. It's also thanks to actions that we have taken 2 to 3 years prior to COVID-19. And I'd like to re-inform you that if we look at 3 years prior to COVID-19, in 2016 to 2019, in the United States, we closed our office in San Diego, and we moved our office for Chicken of the Sea and for our ambient seafood and consolidated that in Los Angeles. And we also have been using shared services. All companies have their back offices. We consolidated all of that into one office, and this has enabled us to reduce and have cost savings. And lastly, this is a combination of all of our businesses under Thai Union North America to report to only one CEO, who is Brian, and he's been doing it. This has resulted in a good advantage for us, a strong advantage for us. And we've closed some factories over the past 2 to 3 years, whether they're in Scotland for our chilled salmon, for instance. We closed our factory in Germany for the chilled salmon as well. And we wanted to combine and to streamline our capacity. And this is rationalizing our capacity, which we had in Europe, to bring it in line with everything, make it more streamlined. We have shared services in Europe as well. In addition to this, we have also launched a transformation program that is known as Spring at the end of 2019. And this program is a 3-year-long one from 2020 to 2022. And the goal is to increase our operating profit in Europe from 75 million euros to 125 million euros. By the end of 2022, you will see that we are not just being complacent, we are actively pursuing cost savings. And also in Thailand, we have invested in automation and robotics and AI. And this has allowed our production to have cost savings. We're reducing physical labor. Our laborers from 49,000 have gone down to about 43,000, 44,000 people, and this is a significant drop. And we will continue to be reducing our human resources here in Thailand because we want to increase our investment in robotics and automation. And aside from this, in 2019, at the end of the year, we also issued our perpetual bonds. And in 2019, our net debt to equity was at 1.35. And we have fiscal financial discipline, therefore. And we have about 6 billion in bonds as well. At the end of 2019, we're looking at 1.1 times net debt to equity. We closed a factory in Bak Panang due to a shortage of raw materials. And we're continuing to invest in Thailand in terms of automation, building a chilled storage room. And our profitability margin is therefore improving. And our net debt to equity continues to decrease. And at the end of 2020, it was at 0.94. And at the end of this quarter, this first quarter, it is at 0.93. In 2020, we took on many endeavors. So let me remind you, we repurchased stocks of more than 2%, and we paid dividends out at a higher level at 30%. We paid dividends twice, and we've also been paying down our debt. And these are actions that we have taken and things that we are proud of for 2020. In 2021, people are still wondering if we're going to be able to continue with these good results. And I'd like to tell you that for the first quarter, this is proof that our top line, our margin, we're still able to achieve these fantastic results. And we believe that 2021 will be a good year for us. Last year, even though we had good results, we'd like you to know that we are still consolidating, and we're looking at share of loss for Red Lobster. Last year, they saw a significant loss, and in 2021, we have budgeted a decrease of half. And at this moment, I believe Red Lobster is looking at a more positive trend. In the first quarter for this year, this is the best quarter that I've seen for Red Lobster, whether it's due to the vaccines in the US or the ability to open up 99% of the restaurants, and our capacity in the shops is only allowing 50% seating, but there is delivery services, there's off-premise services, and we're looking at 25% positivity there. And for Red Lobster, today, the most difficult issue that we have overcome during the COVID pandemic, the beginning, many people were worried about Red Lobster, wondering how it would continue on. We had to refinance, and the US financial institutions showed confidence in Red Lobster, and we were able to achieve refinancing, and we successfully concluded that. People might be worried about our equity. This is a good opportunity for us to get more involved in the management and become closer. Even though we're not the majority shareholder, we are the single largest shareholder, 49% of Red Lobster. And the 35%, we have a new group of shareholders, which is Seafood Alliance, including managers from Singapore, Germany, and in Thailand. We have been shown confidence from MK and Paul Kenny, who is in Seafood Alliance with shares. And he has agreed to be an executive at Red Lobster as well. Red Lobster is an opportunity for us in the future. It's not something very simple. It's not easy to have a restaurant that has more than 750 branches in restaurants and has more than $2 billion in profit. This is a top priority for us. We want to turn this business around and to help it return to normalcy in the next 2 to 3 years. And after that, we will reconsider how we should move forward. There are many options, whether it's listing Red Lobster on the exchange in the US whenever they are able to return to positive results. This is something that we will consider in the future. And we're looking at positive turnaround right now. And we'd like to ask you to be confident in the business. We are confident in the business, in the restaurant business. We're looking at Red Lobster as another strong pillar for Thai Union in the future. And in 2021, all the way to 2025, we have a new cycle for a 5-year strategy. In 2021, we increased our capex from last year, it went down to 3.7 billion baht. And in 2021, our first project is our ingredients business. We have invested heavily in tuna oil, and our factory in Germany is operating as usual now. We have authorized construction for protein hydrolysis production in Samut Sakhon, and our investment is about over 1 billion baht. And this is something we have already authorized, and we believe that we will be able to continue on with this in the second and third quarter by the end of 2022 in the third quarter. We also have a project called Culinary Project, which is a business where we are producing finished products in 3 different areas. We have the Chao Phraya and Asia Pacific business handling this. We have a bakery business as well for TUF. If we consolidate these 3 businesses under a new factory that we are going to build, this will be upgrading our facilities to handle the production for worldwide customers like McDonald's or KFC. And this is a major factory investment, and we believe that the construction will be completed by the first quarter of next year. And lastly, another major project for us is the construction of a chilling site in Ghana to cater to the capacity for production there and to increase production in Ghana and to lower our production costs. And these are our major projects for 2021. Other things that we have already done, that we've already taken action in, are our tuna bone calcium at Songkhla Canning in the south. Production has already begun. We have a plant-based protein project, and we have begun production already, and we are exporting already, whether it's TUM or packed food. And these 2 plant-based production projects for ambient and frozen, we have a new business unit to manage these, and we have a new executive as well. So we're taking this initiative seriously. So in the next 5 years, we want to see this business increase to 1 billion baht, and we don't believe this is unachievable. This is something that can be done, and we will continue in this endeavor. We have also launched a new company named Thai Union Life Science, expanding on our ingredients business. And our ingredients business, Thai Union Ingredients, is a B2B business. Thai Union Life Science will be B2C starting in Thailand. And we will launch supplements, our 3 supplements, at the in March here. So please stay tuned for that. We have a joint venture with Thai Bev for functional beverages, and you should see our products at the end of 2021. We have a joint venture with Interpharma to use their strong channels with hospitals to help Thai Union Life Sciences achieve its sales. And we are continuing to invest in our startup through our CVC. We have authorized a $30 million investment, and we have investment in 8 companies. We have $10 million in investment. And this startup, we're going to focus on investing in businesses that have high-end technology. And we're looking at the long-term future. We're looking at plant-based protein. We have invested in cell-based protein. So this is where you harvest the meat in a laboratory. This is cell-based seafood in San Diego. And another company that we're investing in is in Israel, is cell-based beef. And these 2 projects will help us learn the technology and develop our GIC, our team in Thailand, to help them gain the know-how and knowledge. And most recently, we have signed an agreement with another company in Scotland, and this is to produce collagen from jellyfish. And this is a technology that is even more superior for medical purposes. And this is very exciting for us. We're learning something very new, and we're learning so much from this investment in this startup. Our plan, 5 years from now, we're not going to be looking at our top line. That's not our focus. Our focus is growth, 3 to 5% every year until 2025. And we're looking at profitability more and more. We want to see a gross margin to shift to 20%. Our net profit shift to 8 to 10%, even more. And our core business, we're still investing in automation, robotics, AI, and we're focusing on looking at cost productivity improvement. Our new business investments, we're looking at businesses that have growth potential and have gross margin or profitability potential. We're looking at 20% plus. And today, we want to grow in the feed business, especially shrimp and fish. And we have a clear plan to spin off and to list, to pursue an IPO at the end of this year. We want to unlock the value of all of our businesses that show potential, because if they are with TU right now, we may have challenges that we need to handle and we're not able to focus. So if we can spin these businesses off, then those businesses can focus on growing and they will have financial strength. So for our feed mill, we have a factory in Indonesia, and this should be done by the end of this year as well. We're looking at Pakistan and Sri Lanka. So this is for our feed mill business. Today, I'd like to share with all of you that we have a plan to spin off other businesses that show profitability potential. For instance, our pet care business, it's in the pipeline. We want this business to continue to grow, to continue to achieve, and we want to list it in the middle of next year. These are new developments that I'd like to share with you today. And all of our companies, whether it's ingredients, life science that we're looking at, my new mindset our new mindset is whoever is able has the potential to grow and can achieve higher profitability levels than our main organization, then we're happy to spin that business off as a separate entity. You'll see in the box on the right, by 2025, we believe that our businesses from innovation will achieve more than 10% of revenue and have gross margin of no less than 20%. And we want this to be a driver for net profit. If they can grow by 10%, then they can achieve 15 to 20% revenue for the entire group. And this is something that we're hoping for, we're working towards, and we're looking at conversion cost improvement of 3% annually to cover the inflation that occurs each year. And our EBITDA is 450 to 550 million US dollars by the year 2025. From now on, Ludo and our team and his team will be providing clearer information. We have our ambient, our frozen, and our pet care businesses. In the future, we will also have our plant-based ingredient and supplements. And we want you to see the development and the sales from this point on. So we're going to do this to enable you to see the numbers that are very clear, very transparent. And moving on, we have a new innovation that we've launched. We have taken calcium and omega-3 and vitamin C and transformed them into new products. These are new products that we have launched under the brand Petit Navire in France. And we hope that these products will create some excitement in the market and that it's a new alternative for canned foods. So we have tuna with added omega-3, added vitamin, or added antioxidants. This is a new trend for us, and it's in France, and we're planning to expand to the UK and America as well. Let's look at sustainability now. We have partnered with an NGO known as the Nature Conservancy, or TNC, and this is our commitment to traceability, 100% traceability in our supply chain by the year 2025. We've joined Ocean Disclosure Project, and this is to disclose, we want to disclose our sourcing information, our traceability for transparency, so that you know that our supply chain is sustainable. We want to reemphasize our commitment that's part of our global sustainability strategy. And this is sea change. So we want increased transparency in the seafood industry. We've been recognized by Finance Asia's 21st Best Companies in Asia poll. We have been recognized as the most committed to environmental stewardship in Thailand. And this is something that we take great pride in. Many people saw the sea piracy movie. I saw it as well. And our team has collected third-party information from NGOs, from scientists, not just our organization. You can contact Kun Gail if you're interested in seeing this. Many people say that this is propaganda and not a documentary. It's about people who are vegans and who are not eating seafood anymore. I took a look at the movie, and I believe that it's the footage was taken over 10 years ago. It's about dolphins. It's very old video footage. It's not new video footage. Whether it's about the whales or other aquatic life. As for our organization, we would like to reaffirm our commitment to our stakeholders that we are committed to sustainability development, to traceability and disclosure, and good labor practices. It's quite incredible that this movie begins in Thailand and that we have a slave trade, for instance. But again, I believe that the pictures in this film are old. What's important and what we need to believe is that Thailand today its status has been increased in terms of the fight against human trafficking, child labor, child abuse. From tier 3, we're in tier 2. We're not in the watch list. And in the European Union, they've upgraded Thailand from the yellow card to the green card. So these two groups probably don't favor they wouldn't favor Thailand. They upgraded our status thanks to Thailand's efforts. And I watched the video 3 times, so I just wanted to share with you my comments and our what we see. And I'd like to ask Ludo to explain the financials to you.
So we'll go through the numbers. As Kuntirapong mentioned, we are very pleased about our Q1 performance. I think we have really strong numbers. So the key takeaways for Q1 21, first of all, the top line. The top line is very stable and very steady compared to last year. I think we are very proud about this performance. If you remember, Q1 2020, we were benefiting from the first wave of COVID-19 in the US and also in Europe. Plus also, we're not benefiting, of course, from this one-off in 21. We also faced with a peak of COVID-19 in our factories in Thailand at the beginning of Q1. And also we had to face with a lot of supply chain issues. And Kuntirapong mentioned this one. He mentioned about the container shortage and the supply chain issues that we are facing. You will see that we have a lot of changes happening in our different categories. We have some push coming from our frozen business, coming from our pet care, value-added business, when we have some kind of normalization of our ambient business. Gross profit margin is another very good news for us. We are achieving 17.7% gross profit margin in Q1 21, which is higher compared to our full year target of 17%. We will deep dive in the numbers just after, but very happy about the gross profit margin. So OP, we are delivering OP by 1.9 billion baht in Q1. This is pretty unusual for us for a Q1, if you remember. And if you look at our seasonality, Q1 is always a bit low compared to the other quarters. So for us, achieving 1.9 billion baht net income of OP, 1.9 billion baht OP is a very strong performance. Below the OP, and I think this is one of the key differences compared to previous quarters, we also have some very good news. Coming from Red Lobster, Kuntirapong mentioned this one, and I will get back to this. We can see a real turnaround in the operations. So as a consequence, we can see the net profit for Q1 is record high at 1.8 billion baht, increasing by 77%. Just a quick focus on the tuna price. Our usual focus, you will see the tuna price remain under control in Q1 21. It was just below $1,300 for 1 ton. In April 2021, it's increasing a bit, and we are now exceeding a bit $1,340 for 1 ton. Next slide, just a quick focus on the sales. So the sales in Q1 21, we do achieve 31 billion baht. very steady compared to last year. We also added on this chart the comparison with Q1 19. So you can have a view and a comparison prior to COVID-19 situation. And you can see that compared to Q1 19, we have a very strong performance and we increased by 6% compared to this period. Again, you will see that we have very different performance as per our categories, and Gail will elaborate on that a bit after. Next, we can have a quick view here by segment, and you can have already a good picture of what is happening. You can see on the left, all the ambient segments are declining, mostly tuna, but also sardine and mackerel and salmon. And they are offsetting by the very strong push coming from the frozen, which was suffering last year, mostly coming from the shrimp and also coming from the lobster. And finally, you can see on the right, the increase coming from the pet care and value-added business. Again, a very strong push again on this one. So I think this is a very good summary for Q1. We have some very significant changes happening between our different categories. The ambient normalization is happening. We were expecting for this one, maybe it's a bit stronger compared to what we were expecting, but we are able to manage and to offset by some growth, also stronger compared to what we were expecting, coming from the two other categories. So overall, very strong performance. Just a quick overview by market. US is increasing in Q1 21. You can see some push on this one. Europe is declining a bit. And then you have our usual information on the brand and private label, but there is no significant change compared to previous quarters. Gross profit margin is one of the key achievements, I think, over the quarter. So 17.7. If you look back 1 year ago, we had 16.2. And then 2 years ago in Q1 19, before the COVID-19, we were just below 15%. So very strong achievement. You will see here the three categories. Gross profit margin is growing. We have different explanation for this one. We will get back to this, but very, very proud about this one. Slide 22, OP performance increasing by 22%. As I mentioned, you can see here over the last 4 quarters, we have been delivering a very constant operating profit, very close from 1.9 and even to 2.4 billion baht in Q2 2020. We are very proud about this one. If you compare to 2019, Q1 or 2020, usually our OP in Q1 is between 1 billion, 1.2 billion baht OP. So here with 1.9, very strong. Keep in mind that in this one, we have also some quite high SG&A at 11.7% of the NSV, mostly explained by some increasing logistic costs. We have not only our business, but the whole industry is suffering from this container shortage issue, some port congestions. We estimate the extra cost in Q1 to be between 200 to 250 million this quarter. Okay. We had also a phasing topic on the marketing spend. We decreased a bit in Q1. We will catch up in Q2 and in Q3 the marketing spending, but I think this is under control. Next slide, EBITDA 3.4. This is very strong. We have also some FX gain in Q1 21 by 250 roughly. Last year it was the opposite. We had an FX loss. So here again, the FX gain is one of the key drivers for the very strong performance in Q1. Of course, we don't fully control this one, but right now the FX and especially the USD versus Thai baht is going in the right direction for us. Share profit looks very similar compared to last year. I will go into the details because in this one, in fact, you have some improvement coming from Red Lobster operations. You have some improvement coming from Avanti operations. We have one-off related to the lease accounting adjustment we just recorded in Q1, and I will elaborate on this one. Apart from that, the interest income coming from the preferred shares at Red Lobster, there is no change. We continue to accrue for them. So next is the impact on the net income. You will see net profit at 1.8. If you compare to the net profit we delivered in Q1 2020 at 1 billion or in Q1 19 at 1.3, this is a very strong growth. Growth by 77 compared to last year and 42% compared to prior COVID-19 period. Again, the key drivers are the strong operating profit increasing by 350 roughly, very strong FX, and also we managed to decrease our finance cost. Last year, we told you that we managed to leverage a bit our financial debt, plus we are benefiting from lower cost of debt in 21. So very happy about this net profit. This is record high for us, so the momentum is very strong. We have few one-off to report to you. Three of them, but the two first ones are related to the same topic. We did record in Q1 21 a one-off regarding Red Lobster lease accounting management. I don't elaborate now because I will elaborate on this one a bit further, but the impact you can see are the two boxes on the left. It's 207 million baht on the share profit, 53 million baht on the tax. We have another one which is related to Russia. We did record a fair value adjustment, negative one, by 2 million euro, 73 million baht also in Q1. If you exclude all these one-off items, then our net profit adjusted would be above, exceeding 2 billion baht, which is really an exceptional performance for us for a Q1. Next, the EPS is increasing. Of course, our profitability is record high, so the EPS is growing by 88%. This is very strong. Just a quick focus on Red Lobster operations. And you can see here, there are three things I want to mention to you. The first one is related to the operations coming from Red Lobster. So this is the first line. This is 25% of net income coming from Red Lobster. So here you can see in Q1 21, they managed to deliver a net profit, which is a very good news because you could see they were loss-making in all the 4 last quarters in a row. We were expecting them to be around break-even, but finally their final numbers were much above compared to our expectation. And we can see a real turnaround in their operation. They are benefiting from a lot of changes, and maybe we can move to the next slide. I will get back to this one after. They have been doing a lot of changes in their model. First of all, we are benefiting from the fact that the vaccination campaign in the US is very successful. Thanks to this, we can now operate almost all our restaurants which are open. Keep in mind that even if they are open, on average, the capacity is reduced to 50%. So we still have some challenges on this one. The off-premise business, we told you, is a clear success for Red Lobster. We told you, I think we were a bit late before the COVID-19. We really catch up, and now I think we are ahead compared to the competition. We have also issued some curbside pickup, which is now really well developed, and people are used to this. The menu has been completely revised, and we are also focusing a lot on the staffing. And this is now one of the key issues we are facing. There is one challenge in the US, which is finding some new staff and some new managers. One of the key actions in 2020 was to reduce the number of staff and managers in each restaurant. Now the guest count is increasing again, so we need to increase this one. It's really a challenge. We had a call this morning with Red Lobster management, and they told us that now you have some signing bonus for the staff willing to be hired here. So high competition. This is a new challenge. It is a good challenge for us, but it's going in the right direction. So many changes happening in Red Lobster. There is one off topic maybe that you need to be aware. In Q1, there were some stimulus check, some free money provided by the US administration to many people. So which could be also one part of the explanation of the good performance on Red Lobster. But overall, very encouraging quarter for Red Lobster. So first takeaway for you on Red Lobster is the operations are really recovering. The second one is a one-off. We recorded some accounting adjustments related to the lease. And here, if you want more details, you can find more details in the slide 51. I'm sorry because it's a bit technical. We try to make it simple. However, we have one impact by 307 million baht in the share profit in Q1 21. This 307 is made up with 200 coming from past years and 100 coming from Q1 21. Now moving forward, you can expect to have a 100 million baht happening every quarter, negative impact. To partially offset with this one, you will have some tax impact at 25%. Okay, so there are two impacts. The first one in the share profit line, and then 25% on the flip side on the tax impact. So just for you to know, so here we do expect to have a 600 million baht impact in 2021, 200 coming from 2020, and then 100 million happening every quarter. We had to record this amount because it took us a lot of time for us to assess the difference between the US GAAP and the Thai GAAP on this one. Normally, we're not expecting any difference, but due to some very specific circumstances at Red Lobster, there are some impact, and we had to record this one. The last point I want you to remember on Red Lobster is related to the other income. And maybe we can get back just one slide. Kun Gail, please. In Q1 21, we can see an increase in the other income. In other income, you have two things. The first one is you have the 8% preferred interest on the preferred shares, which is quite consistent from one quarter to another one. And we have also some management fees from Red Lobster. In 2020, due to the pandemic, and the refinancing to be negotiated, we did not accrue for the management fees. Finally, at the end of the day, we waived a part of the management fees 2020, but finally we managed also to be paid for a portion of these management fees. So that's why you have a small increase in the line other income in Q1 21. Moving to slide 29, just a quick focus on the cash flow. I think the picture is green everywhere except for the cash flow. Slightly negative in Q1 21. Again, we have a very strong EBITDA, which is offset by the change in the net working capital. However, we remain confident for the rest of the year, and we want to move back to positive cash flow. You can see this one in the next slide, the net debt bridge here, 3.4 billion baht EBITDA, partially offset by the net working capital. CapEx also is large at 0.8 billion baht. If you remember, we have very large investment plan for 2021 of 6 to 6.5 billion baht. So don't be surprised about this one. The rest is kind of normal. So just for you to remember, the cash flow key explanation is related to an increase in our inventories, finished goods, and trading goods also, mostly explained by the delay in the supply chain logistics. We expect this one to reverse in the quarters to come. Next, I will go very quick on this one. We have some changes regarding the structure of our debt. You remember we did some refinancing in Q1, and these are the key drivers for the changes happening in currency. You have also some changes by maturity. This is mostly coming due to the fact that beginning of 2022, we have also a portion of our debt which is becoming current. So nothing to worry on this one. We are already working on the refinancing on this one. A last one for me, our usual ratio focus. Here you can see the picture is green everywhere. Net debt to EBITDA is decreasing at 3.87. Net debt to equity is at 0.93. The inventory days at 124, but you can see here in terms of value, the value of our inventories has been growing to 39 billion baht compared to 36 billion baht last year at the same time. This is one of the key explanations for the net working capital increase that you can see just below. So now Khun Gail will elaborate on the performance by business unit.
Let's start with tuna. It's at a lowered by 11% from the last year. The price went down in US dollars. The price for shrimp is not that much changed from the last quarter of 2020. And for salmon, the prices have gone down as well. And in April, the raw materials are still at a price that is acceptable. In times of the currency, if we look at the Thai baht, it weakened against the US, but it contributed to our gains in the past quarter for foreign exchange. These are our three main businesses. There hasn't been much change. Let's look at pet care and value-added products. The sales went up by 18%, where in past quarters we were looking at 15% or so. So we're looking at improvement in pet care and value-added. In our business units, if we look at the ambient seafood, we have a decrease in sales of 13%. Tuna in the US and in Europe, demand went down. When there was lockdown in March of last year, it was one of the reasons for increased sales, but this first quarter, we're looking at decreased sales. The profitability went up by 20% compared to the last year, which was at only 19%. And this is due to the prices of raw materials. In our ambient seafood business, the sales and the profitability are better than before pre-COVID. In our frozen and chilled seafood businesses, we're looking at an increase of 10.3% for sales, 3.1% in terms of quantity. And our sales in the US are looking at better results in terms of shrimp and lobster and exports. If we compare it with before COVID, the sales and the margin compared to the last quarter, the first quarter in 2019. In frozen and chilled seafood, for gross profit, our gross profit is 1.2 billion and an improvement of 44% year on year. And this is better than our first quarter for the year 2019 at the pre-COVID level. We want to increase modern trade focus and supermarkets. We're increasing value-added products there as well, increasing our production capacity, production ability, so that we can achieve higher profit. And one of the strongest results for this quarter is the pet care and value-added business. We're looking at 21% increase compared to the same quarter last year. People are spending more for pet care. And we have new products. If we compare with the sales and the profit over the past 5 years, we're looking at a significant increase, and we have profitability that is very clear in terms of its increase. We have newer products. I'm sorry, there's a lot of static. I can't hear what she's saying. If we're looking at in this, okay, static, sorry about static. There's 6% increase on sales. Our brands last year, we had increased sales because due to the lockdown, people were hoarding products. The margin is quite acceptable, though. Our main drivers are the pet care products, which increased in the first quarter of 2019 before COVID. In the emerging markets, the growing markets, we're looking at sorry, there's so much static. เสียงซ่าๆค่ะซ่าๆไม่ค่อยได้ยินเลยอ่ะคุณต้นเหรอเสียงซ่า If we compare with the overall performance in the first quarter, we still have margins that are increasing, and the gross profit is at 5-point-something billion baht. For 2021, our top line, we're still looking at 3 to 5% increase, and 17%. We're still achieving the same results, doing as well as we did last year. And our dividends are at 50% of the profit. What you need to pay attention to is the change in the foreign exchange and our container costs. In 2025, we're looking for healthy living, healthy oceans. That's our theme. And I'd now like to begin the Q&A session. A second ago, we talked about red lobster. And we said that in the States, at the moment, there is a shortage in labor. At the same time, Ludo told you that in the first quarter, the US government issued stimulus checks for the public, especially those who are unemployed. And in the States, the labor shortage is due to the stimulus check. That's one reason. That has caused people to not want to work to receive a salary. No, to not want to work so that they can receive the stimulus check. And once this program ends in the U.S., once they don't issue stimulus checks anymore, then things should return to normal. The economy is quite weak, so we'd like you to rest assured that in terms of the labor issue in the U.S., we don't think it will be a long-term problem. So that's what I'd like to explain concerning that. And as I mentioned earlier, in our investments, our new investments, we're looking at businesses that are able to obtain higher margins, and our management outlook is different. Our strategy for 2025, today, we're not focusing on our top line. We're focusing on the quality of the top line that can lead to higher margins. Our viewpoint is a new one. We have a new outlook on the business. Because of COVID, we have more time to meet, especially with people outside the industry. And therefore, our outlook has changed. The way we see things has changed. From the past, M&A was 100%, was our focus. But today, we're investing in newer businesses. And these are businesses where we do not have 100% expertise. So we are now pursuing joint ventures. We are ready to collaborate with other organizations and other businesses in many different forms, whether it's acquisition, whether it's a joint venture, or majority stakeholding. For instance, 49% in our past 2 deals. In our newer businesses, I'd like to offer a picture of the future from our analysis and our study in the various businesses. One example is pet care. We are looking at not just pet food. It's not pet food anymore. It's pet care. So we're looking at every dimension dealing with pets, whether it's food, treats, snacks, or ingredients, all the way to upstream operations, the various components. We're looking at our investments in a broader way. We're looking at the entire world to search for manufacturers, to find them and seek the best collaboration platforms so that we have greater growth in pet care and we can achieve higher levels of profit. The dry food business with large margins and high volumes, this is nothing that we are interested in at the moment. We are more interested in technology-based operations, the key advantages given by ingredients, and a focus on raw materials. So this is an example from pet care. If we look at the ingredients business, we're looking at tuna oil. Our factory in Germany has begun production of tuna oil, and based on the supplies that we have, we are able to supply 50% of the market demand, that is the current market demand. But our factory, other than refining tuna oil, omega-3 for the world, there are two sources. One is tuna, the other is algae. Algae is, for instance, seafood. He's explaining it to Thais. And the price for this is higher than tuna. We have gone in to conduct studies to look at algae refining so that we have an option to provide to our customers. Today, we are producing tuna oil as a liquid, but in the market, in addition to liquids, there are also dry spray. And we're looking at this as well. We want to open ourselves up to more business opportunities. Protein hydrolysis is an expansion on our oil business, and it's made into protein, and that will lead to collagen. And collagen that we have today is collagen that is consumed at the supplement level. We're also interested in more medical uses, and medical food is something we're interested in and something we're giving importance to. Functional food is another example. Functional ingredients as well. So these are our new interests. We're looking towards transforming our business, transforming our products in the future. So that's something important that we want to share with you. If you have any questions, please do ask them now.
All right, moving on to the Q&A session. We already have a few questions lining up. We do encourage you to ask some more questions by typing in the chat box to the right-hand side, and then our team will process. Go ahead, ค่ะคุณเกล
On the first question, regarding the lobster, what would be the impact of the minimum wage hike in the increase to impact?
Thanks a lot, and maybe I can answer this one. So in the US, the minimum wage is different depending on the states. We are paying above the minimum wage on this one. Of course, we know that part of the plan of the Biden administration is to increase the minimum wage. If there is an increase in the minimum wage, it will also impact all the wages above. So yes, there will be some impact. I think we can still manage on this one. Just for you to know, the percentage of the personal cost declined to 13% during last year. This isn't a sustainable link. We want to increase this one. As we mentioned, right now the guest count is increasing again at Red Lobster. So this is one of our challenges to find some new workers and some new staff. So we want to increase, to push back to normal level. Normal level was between 16 to 17%. In March, April, we are now back at this level. Okay, so we believe, yes, if there is a confirmed increase in the minimum wage, we will be able to manage at Red Lobster.
ในส่วนของ Red Lobster เนี่ยนะครับผมถือโอกาสเสริมด้วย
I'd like to
ว่า
add
ทำ
to
ไมเรา
that.
ถึงมองว่า
Why
แนวโน้มไป
are we looking at an upward trend? In May, that was the end of the fiscal year for Red Lobster. So the cycle for May this year, despite the COVID-19 lockdown, Red Lobster's profit will not be less than $2 billion US. And I believe that this is something very interesting. It's a positive sign for us. Even though the country has locked down and the restaurants are only able to accept 50% capacity, and we have off-premise sales, even though it's one of the worst years, the profit is still at $2 billion. So once the branches start to reopen more and more, and people start to resume a more normal life, the top line growth will increase. And off-premise from before, it's gone up 25%. And we'd like to see off-premise profit at a higher level at more than $500 million US. This is significant. And COVID has changed the mindset of the executives. And Red Lobster, we have new investors, and we're more involved in the management. The senior executives at the Red Lobster have retired. Several of them have. And this has enabled us to bring up a new blood into management. We have 2 people from here working at Red Lobster. And this is a sign that we are working more closely with them. We're building a better understanding of their business, their operations. Rather than having a prime equity mindset, we're now looking at net profit. We're looking at the bottom line. And this is a good development. And we're confident and we're more assured. Our menu from before, whether it was taking away or in restaurant dining, thanks to our culinary expertise and our partners like Griffith, working with Red Lobster at a closer level, we have developed special menus for takeaway. And these menu items have to be different from the dining in items. The food has to be able to be heated, but to remain fresh, even though it's reheated. The technology used to order products before the customer arrives at the restaurant, before they pick up their items, and the technology used for closing the sale. This is all helping the efficiency of the employees. That means we don't need to use people. Our human resources needs have lowered. And it depends on the location as well. We are taking a closer and closer look at all of these components of the business. And we're very encouraged by the development taking place there.
The question about the operation that Khun Thiraphong mentioned, COVID has a less impact on our operation. Can you share on this utilization rate in first quarter?
utilization เนี่ยนะครับผมคิดว่าตั้งแต่
The utilization from last year up to the first quarter of this year,
ambient tuna
for ambient tuna,
เราน่าจะทำอยู่ที่
we're looking at 95% or more. And up to today, we're also achieving good results. In Thailand, our production is higher than the COVID times. Our management is flexible, and we're quite lucky that at the beginning of the year, it wasn't the shrimp season, so we were able to move our human resources from shrimp to help with the tuna production. Shrimp is also improving, and we're looking at our human resources management we're working towards having it match demand. So our utilization is high. It's in the top levels. Do we need to increase production? I don't think so. We believe that our production capacity is enough to serve the worldwide demand.
For next question, it's a question on the free negotiation between Europe and Britain that broke down. This was on the news. Do you have any update on this?
On this one, of course, a bit difficult between Europe and Britain. I think from time to time, there could be some emotions in this negotiation. We are not really concerned. For sure, they will find some solution. There is some very emotional discussions between my country, France, and the UK regarding fishery, but regarding our own business, it will not impact our own business. I think it will impact the local fishery there. So at this stage, we don't foresee with any issue impacting our business.
For our business, we don't see a major change. And I'd like to share with us at this moment that the sea trade agreement that we've heard about, I don't want you to expect too much from it. From the 3 to 5 years from now, I've talked to the UK government about this, whether it's a free trade agreement with the UK. Don't worry about this. There's not going to be any significant effect on us.
Business update for the pet care outlook for the rest of this year because it grew strongly in first quarter.
I believe that for the pet care business, we're going to be looking at an improvement. COVID-19 is causing more people to stay at home. People are buying more pets. And another contributing factor is that all around the world, normally the cat population is lower than the dog population, but more and more people are adopting cats, and that's adding to the demand for our pet care products. We're not just an innovation center for people. We are innovating in terms of our pet care business as well. We want to be the best pet care manufacturer, and we want to have a strategic partnership with businesses around the world. We want to use our technology, our know-how, to provide products that better match the demands of consumers and also lead to higher profit. So this is something that we are working towards. Our pet care business is growing thanks to our investment since 2015, and you'll see that there will be more defined growth.
Statement. The loss on the financial instrument net worth 163 million versus largest amount of 464 million over a year ago. So can you explain about this matter? And this is the reason for the other gains to increase in this quarter.
I think we have to explain the change in the other income line. The first one we discussed about this one, we are generating some FX gain in Q1 21 by almost 240 million baht. Last year we were generating a FX loss by 260 million baht roughly. So overall the change only coming from the FX is around 500 million baht. So this is one key explanation for this performance quarter. We have also in this line the change in the fair value regarding our Russian investment. We mentioned this one, which is explained by 73. So if you combine the two, the FX and the fair value on the Russian investment, then you will have the key explanation for the change in this line.
Back to the question to the Red Lobster. Regarding we said the signing bonus to attract workers at all levels. So how much do we expect the staff cost to increase from first quarter?
So on this one, we mentioned that we were starting to see some signing bonus from the competitors and also at Red Lobster in some states where the competition is very large. For the time being, this bonus is also for the staff and for the managers. We told you that in 2020, we decreased the people cost as a percentage of NSV to 13%. This is not sustainable. Right now, you can see the guest count is increasing again. So we have a very strong willingness to increase our people cost. We want to move back to something which is more normal, which is in this industry close to 16 to 17%. It will not hurt our bottom line because we believe that with additional staff, additional workers, we will be able to extend the working hours for the restaurants and this will generate some increasing guest count and some increasing top line. So no concern from us on the profitability, but clearly this is one of the key operating challenges we are facing right now in the US at Red Lobster.
On Red Lobster, whether the management fee we receive is recurring each quarter?
So if you remember, before 2020, we were recording this one every quarter, and roughly we have around $2 million per year. In 2020, we did not accrue for these management fees because during the first part of the year, we were willing to help Red Lobster. So we did a waiver on these management fees. For the second part of the year, there were some negotiation with the banks for the refinancing, so we did not accrue for these management fees. Eventually, at the end of the refinancing, we managed to be paid for this portion. That's why you have a one-off impact happening in Q1, roughly between 40 to 50 million baht that you can see very clearly in the line in the column other income in Q1 21. Then going forward, we will continue to record these management fees in 21.
Next is on the completion of IPO feed mill business. Do you consider one-off special dividend?
Yes, that's the plan. And the IPO schedule approximately by end of the year.
Next, among the new products that we mentioned, which one do you see is a serious winning sales for the new products that we
Serious
mentioned?
winning sale.
I think we have some serious ambition behind all the projects. In all the new products that we have, we mentioned during for this quarter, the new products we just launched in Petit Navire. We have some strong expectation behind this one. This is a project which is called Vitality for the whole Europe, and which is exactly going in the direction of our healthy living and healthy oceans.
ผมคิดว่านะครับ
I think that
จากวิกฤตที่เกิด
from the crisis that has happened, this is a confirmation that our seafood business is necessary, and it goes along with the trends. In the past, we always considered whether our products met with the trends, but with COVID, these trends are even clearer than before. People all over the world are more worried about their health. They're looking for beneficial food, convenient food, online delivery services. All of this is becoming clearer and clearer and will continue on as the trend, the lifestyle trend. Therefore, our business is a sustainable one, and our ability to attain profit, I believe that we have proved that we are able to maintain continuous profit. Even in the 3 years prior to this, from 2016 to 2019, when everyone was very interested in our operating results, if you remember, we had a lot of law expenses, legal expenses. Our profit is not less than 5 billion or more. And from now on, we don't have the antitrust issue. It's over. It's all behind us. So our legal expenses have decreased significantly, and I believe that our business will be able to grow sustainably. And we have proven this is not just 10 years. We've been around for 30 years. And everyone keeps asking, how is the fish going to be? What are the fish prices, the shrimp prices? What are they going to be like? What about the foreign exchange? But I believe that our organization is able to adjust to the situation, that we are flexible, that we are the leading organization, one of the leading organizations in this industry. So we'd just like to reassure you on that. Rest assured that we are still one of the leaders. We are a seafood organization that invests in innovation and sustainability. This year is our perhaps 7th year of investments in innovation. The years have passed by so quickly, even though we may have started off more slowly than everyone was hoping for. But the past 7 years of our investments in innovation, they were not all for naught. They've led to significant developments. So we'd like you to
Regarding
stay
the ambient
or wait
business
for our
gross margin
results.
in
We will
first
keep you
quarter,
updated.
what's the key reason for that? Because of the lower raw material price and the outlook for the remaining quarters.
Maybe I can take care of this one. You're right, we are happy with the ambient gross profit margin. One of the key drivers is, of course, the fish price, which is at an acceptable range. But if you look back compared to 2020, Q2 2020, we are quite consistent, above 20%. And I think any gross profit margin around above 20% is, for us, is at a good margin. I think it will be difficult to maintain the same levels of margin as the one we delivered in Q2 2020. If you remember, at that time we were at 23%. The explanation for that were the push in the COVID-19. We're creating some shortage in terms of products, and we decrease our level of promotion, our promotion intensity. So that's why in Q2 2020, the gross profit margin was so high. We expect to decline it a bit over the next quarters, but still to remain above the 20%, still at a very high level for us. We still have, right now, since few quarters, we can see a very positive momentum for the ambient category, and we believe this will remain for the whole year 2021.
Next is on the Red Lobster that we make real profit, 18 million baht in the first quarter, despite not fully reopen the outlet. What about the full year? That should we expect any losses? How large are the losses?
So this one, I just want to manage a bit the expectation. If you get back our track record of our Red Lobster, you will see Q1 is always the best one. And yes, we have been generating a profit in Q1, and we are very happy, and this is very encouraging. However, for the rest of the year, we do expect some losses to come from Red Lobster. The target is to really reduce the losses compared to last year. Last year, they have been generating 1.2 billion baht. We told you in Q4 2020 that the target was to reduce these losses by 50%, which means 600 million baht. I truly believe that we are conservative. Q1 is much better compared to our expectation. So their full year, I think, will be better than the 50% reduced loss that we have. However, we will have some losses coming in the next quarters. Okay. Right now, our level of marketing spend is very, very low at Red Lobster. We will have to restart again. We need to reinvest also in the people cost. So there will be some additional costs coming. This is okay. I think we gave our agreement on this one, and we all agree on the strategy. We want to push the sales at Red Lobster. And we need to do some further investment for this one. But Q1, again, is very encouraging for the whole Red Lobster activity.
Next question on pet care business. If we expand into the blended business, would it affect OEM business?
Pet care เนี่ยนะครับเราเนี่ย
For our
ได้
pet
เปลี่ยน
care
มุมมอง
business, we have
แล้ว
changed
ก็
our outlook. We want to focus on OEM. Our mission and vision is to be the best producer of pet care products and be the best strategic partner of all global brands. So you don't have to worry about our brands.
On Avanti situation, could you please update?
ในแง่ของอวันติวันนี้
In terms of Avanti,
Yeah.
as you know, India is facing a very severe COVID-19 situation, and this is affecting their labor. So for the frozen business in India, they're producing at 50% of their capacity. But in terms of the feed mill, because it doesn't require a lot of labor, the feed mill business is able to continue on normally, but the frozen has dropped down to 50%. But so far, there is still profit. We're still receiving profit from those businesses, but it may not be as good as before, as in the prior years. But again, we're not
Next is, can you
greatly
guide
worried
on
about
the
this.
tuna price trend for the rest of this year?
I think that the trend for this period in time is going to be low for May and June and July up to July. It will be around 1,350. If it goes up, it'll be about 1,400. For the entire year, the average should be around what was like last year, no more than 1,400 this year. This is what we expect. The fish price has been around this area for the past 2 or 3 years. During COVID times, I'm not sure if it has anything to do with it, but like here at home in Thailand, activity has lowered, human activity has lowered. So natural resources are thriving. So the supply for fish is greater and it's more abundant. We're looking at greater supply and at a price of around 1,400. And that is a level that is acceptable. It's quite constant. It's not fluctuating very much.
On the TFN IPO, do we expect to realize some extra gain after listed? And do we pay the dividend extra from the gain?
So on this one, the key part of the listing will be by issuance of new shares. Normally, there will be maybe a portion of our share that we will sell. At this stage, we don't communicate any numbers. We need to see the market trend on this one. This is an ambitious project. We have been working very hard on this project since 2 years, and we want to make this one effective in 2021 for the end of the year.
But for us, TU is not looking any major results, major effects. It's 51%, and our numbers are still the same. Our numbers have not changed significantly.
2 questions. On is the Europe sale, do we see any positive impact from increasing vaccination in Europe this day?
I think we have very different situation depending on the countries in Europe. You're right. Right now, the vaccination campaign is very advanced. In the UK, for instance, it's a bit slower. In the other countries, in Germany, in France, and in Italy. So we need to wait a bit. I think we need to have 1 more quarter, and then we will see really what is the impact of the vaccination campaign in Europe. We really hope it will be as successful as it is in the US. Now, what will be the impact in our business is a bit difficult to predict. What we can see from the situation in the US that clearly you have a push in the frozen, in the food service, but we don't have a lot of activity like this in Europe. However, we have some very strong plan in our ambient brand business there to grow more in Q2, Q3, and Q4.
And in addition to that, something else that's very important is the profit from the businesses in Europe, especially from the spring program, the transformation program that we're involved in. In the last year, which was the first year where we launched this program, we achieved results greater than our target. And in 2021, for our operating results from that, we believe that they will be according to plan for our spring program. And we're confident that the results in Europe will be positive.
I think another one will be the last questions on the frozen and pet care. I think we already talked about that, but investors want more confident on the gross margin, whether to be increased year on year for the remaining quarters.
I think we can say the momentum is positive right now, and it will continue to be positive. I think on the pet care, if you get back to prior quarters, we did achieve record high gross profit margin. I'm not sure we can maintain exactly the same level, but for sure, the gross profit margin will remain high. For the frozen, the story is a bit different. If you compare to last year, H1, the gross profit margin was low. H2, there was recovery. Now in Q1, we are almost back to this H2 level. So we do expect to see a significant increase of the gross profit margin for the whole year 2021. Absolutely correct.
And now that sums up the presentation today. Thank you for joining us. Please take good care of yourself and your loved one. We will get through COVID-19 together. Hopefully, we will see you next time. Have a great day.
Ích nuôi nó có xỉn cho cái này nó không